I will not be doing all the talking alone today as we take you on a journey around the 10 stadiums that will be hosting match actions in the English Premier League every weekend. And we'll be reviewing match week 1, and of course we'll be talking fantasy football. To expand the conversation with me on the show today, we have, so to say, a newcomer on the digital team who will be giving us some more insights while we just try to spread the passes and try to hit the target on the show. Anyton, it's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, iFlyer. It's good to be here. It's my first time here, and it's good to say that winter is finally here.
Well, of course, maybe winter is here. Let's see which team will feel the pressure of what the winter is going to bring. Even though the summer transfer window is still on, there's still a lot of buy and selling to do as clubs continue to scrabble for this and that player. And perhaps the latest is Moses Caicedo finally joining Chelsea for a British record transfer. Now let's get straight to the business of the day and take a review of matches that we've had from Friday night till Sunday afternoon. Beginning from the tough more. Well, it wasn't tough for Manchester City as Pep Guardiola led his boys out against one of his apprentices. Vincent Kompany, former captain of Manchester City, who gained promotion with Burnley, returned to the Premier League with the club. And of course, the Clarets could not just do anything against Vincent Kompany's former manager. Erling Haaland, over 30 goals last season. He has started against this season anytime with 2 goals. And Manchester City, they look like they're not even the challengers. Maybe they're not even saying they are contending because it looks like others are challengers and they are just there.
Well, for now, I would say it's too early to determine or to conclude on, who will eventually lift this season's Premier League. But Manchester City are title contenders.
Any day, anytime.
Any day you get. So, and we expect more goals from Erling Haaland. I think there was a bit of little talk on Twitter or social media, so to say, and about Haaland because the game against Arsenal in the community shield failed to score, and I knew something was coming. I just knew something was coming.
Maybe it was just about the community shield. He was just getting started. Last season in the community shield against Liverpool, he missed a sitter.
Exactly. You're right. You're right.
And everybody said, this is the guy they bought for this amount. He might not just deliver. But then he's hitting the ground running straight home. But then Manchester City did it against Burnley on Friday night. Arsenal had to wait until Saturday before they began. After agonizingly losing the title to Manchester City last season, this time around, Bukayo Saka, Mikel Arteta, Eddie Nketiah, they brought in their armory. They've started firing again, but then a lot of people will say narrow escape against Nottingham Forest. Is that what it is to you?
Well, yes, it could have been a narrow escape against Nottingham Forest, but then I think everybody's still looking to see if the addition of Declan Rice and Kai Havertz will bring a twist to their game and how far they can go this season. But I feel that game, well, they had the game. They had it within
their control.
Yeah, they had the control.
Of course, we'll still have more time to talk about Nigerian players in the English Premier League. But then, Nottingham Forest and Taiwo Awoniyi, in that game, flashes of what we saw last season. They were one of the teams that put a dent on Arsenal's title hopes. Yes. They had their chance going into that game. They could have just grabbed it, but it wasn't to be.
Yes, it wasn't to be. And if you recall, I think that was like the second to the last game of the season when they played Arsenal.
Yeah.
And they won 1-0 courtesy of
Awoniyi's goal.
And he came back to score again, to on them again this season. I think Awoniyi is a player to look out for. And however, Arsenal were still favourites to win the game.
Well, maybe too early to call, but then Arsenal are coming into this season. If you ask any of their random fans, they will tell you this season they want to go again.
Sorry to say, fans
they don't look noisy to me.
It's well deserved, it's well deserved. They've waited so long, they waited so long. So I think right now all they need to do is, keep pushing. They started well, or they ended not expectedly well.
Where they want to be.
It was something good, from where they came 2 seasons ago. Nobody expected Arsenal to be in the top 4.
Of course.
But they showed everybody what they could do, and now it is left for them to build up from where they stopped. You understand? And I think their target really should be keeping the wins and ensuring that this season they manage to beat Manchester City.
maybe if they beat them at least in one of the games,
I feel it would really, boost the morale of the team. It's not down, you get, but it will really take it to another level.
Another level in terms of psyching up their mentality for that challenge.
Exactly.
Let's not forget that they will be back in Champions League football for the first time in how many years? Over 7 years, and it's a lot of special feeling for Arsenal this season.
Yes, it is special, and I think some fans will be worried as to how Mikel Arteta will use his squad. So that's where the worry will be for some people, and that's where the test is. Also, that's where the test is, because they'll be playing on 4 fronts. They'll be playing the Premier League, they'll be playing the FA Cup, they'll be playing the EFL, and then the Champions League. So we are waiting to see how Mikel Arteta will manage this.
And maybe that is where the depth in squad that they needed over the summer will come in. But let's see how Arteta will be able to manage his squad, having Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and a host of other players. Gabriel Jesus is out injured, but hopefully they are keeping Folarin Balogun in that squad, and let's see how much that will be able to turn out for them. Now, Newcastle United, in the absence of most of the usual suspects last season, they rose up to the challenge, having spent some amount of money, though reasonable to be called huge, and they got dividend for the investments that their new owners have put in the club. And now they are in the Champions League, and this season they made a big statement about what they did in the Premier League last season to tell you that it was no fluke beating Aston Villa 5-1. I mean, who beats Aston Villa like that on the opening day of the season? Not a newly promoted club.
I expected a team like Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United and Liverpool, yes, to be the ones that will be able to do that. But you're having a team like Newcastle beating Aston Villa 5-1 on the opening day of the season, and it goes to tell you that it's not just about money. These guys are here for business. They are here for business, and I'm sure Eddie Howe knows how he's going to manage that team. I think we should expect more from them.
Talk about that man, Eddie Howe. One of the statements he made after their 5-1 win against Aston Villa was that he's having headaches selecting the players to use. You mentioned one thing before we even started the show. Definitely, he's supposed to have that headache.
Yes, it's a good headache, if I would say, because another thing I think he should be worried about, maybe it should not be a sort of worry, is when they start bringing in the big names. You could remember when Manchester City brought in the likes of Kolarov. They started bringing in Robinho and the likes. They have the money. You understand? So when they start bringing in big names,
the manager must have the pedigree.
Yes. So that's left for him now to show the world that yes, I'm here to stay. I'm not just a fluke. You get, because there will be a lot of pressure on him on how he will use the players and stuff. And when you have somebody like permit me to use to say that players of the Mbappe caliber, and when they start making demands, players do make demands.
Of course,
you have to play me. You understand?
Of course.
So when you have players like that in Newcastle, how will he manage it? But I expect him to manage it.
Well, just how good are Newcastle are, you might never be able to tell, perhaps until we see them in the Champions League. But then in the Premier League, they've been able to show us. Sandro Tonali, who joined them from AC Milan in the summer, made the first statement, scoring his first goal. Isak also got 2. Botsman also got another 2. And the Gordon was there. And Callum Wilson, the regular guy who always delivers, gets injured, come back into the team, continues to deliver. And of course, they were on rampage, winning 5-1 against Aston Villa in that one. And on Sunday, action was in London. Of course, we might have missed this one while we were even trying to prepare our talking points, but then there's a major departure in the English Premier League. Harry Kane eventually left Tottenham Hotspur after spending about 20 years in the club and joined Bayern Munich. Unfortunately for him, his first taste of action for Bayern Munich did not result in a title as he would have expected, but then he made there was a press conference afterwards, and he said he did not want to end his career with regrets. Before Tottenham Hotspur 2-2 draw against Brentford yesterday as well, Son Heung-min, the new captain of Tottenham, lamented missing Harry Kane in that squad. And that was what he saw in that 2-2 draw, isn't it?
Yeah. Before I go into that, I would like to quickly say that from us, congratulate Harry Kane in that because
he's going to be winning something.
Before he's expecting his 4th baby, I think in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So yes, that's a big one. So congratulations to Harry Kane on that. However, I'm a Manchester United fan, and I'm not biased, but then allowing Harry Kane to leave the Premier League, and then for Bayern Munich, I'm a bit skeptical.
Okay.
Yes, I don't doubt his ability to score goals,
Okay.
to deliver, but then we saw what happened to Sadio Mane at Bayern Munich.
Okay.
You understand? And they had to offload him to the Saudi League. And I'm just a bit scared. I don't want the same thing to happen to him. He's a player that I personally respect, and I think everybody in the Premier League respects Harry Kane. He was close to joining Man City. I think it was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
So we would have expected him to stay
in the Premier League.
And set the new record that everybody is expecting. Set the record and then win the Premier League. Because personally, as a person that loves football, as a lover of football, I feel that I'm not saying the Premier League is maybe better. Yeah, in some ways it is.
Arguably the most watched league in the world.
But then winning the Premier League is more or less like
glamorous.
Than the Bundesliga. However, he's going to win the Bundesliga. He will likely win it back to back. But then, will he win the Champions League with Bayern Munich?
Very unlikely. And of course, he was close to winning the Champions League at Tottenham Hotspur in 2019.
Yes.
No thanks to Liverpool beating them 2-0 in the final. And one man is kind of happy that Harry Kane even left for Bayern, and that's Alan Shearer, the current all-time highest goal scorer in the English Premier League. Jokingly, he said it too. And if you look at the Premier League clubs, City, that could have got him about 2 seasons ago, now have Haaland, and it looks like there was nowhere to go, and maybe United were not that committed into putting money into that deal.
Well, I don't think it's a case of commitment.
Okay.
Where I feel that it's the kind of message that Daniel Levy sent to the club.
A very shrewd businessman.
So if you notice this season, Manchester United, they were more firm when it comes to transfers. They had their targets planned. They didn't want any delay of any sort. You understand?
So the moment they don't get this,
exactly, because they went for Harry Kane first, and I guess it was a signal that Daniel Levy that sent. If you notice again, he's not the kind of man that allows his best players to join right now. He did it with Luka Modric. He did it with Gareth Bale, and now he has done it with Harry Kane. So it is now left for us to, we are waiting to see if there is a possibility that Harry Kane will come back to the Premier League, like Michael Owen did.
Maybe when he comes back, it might just be the time to break the all-time highest goal scorers record. He's just about 30 goals or less than that, shy of Alan Shearer's record.
That's amazing.
Very amazing for a striker that even at the start of last season, there was a goal drought before he started eating the goals.
Imagine that the 30 goals with Man U. Imagine he scored those 30 goals for Man U.
Are you trying to insinuate a title? But let's see. We'll still get to Manchester United on the show. But first, let's talk about Chelsea, who are looking really brand new under Mauricio Pochettino. How new are they is what remains to be seen. But there's a new man in the squad as well. Moses Caicedo eventually joins them from Brighton and Old Albion. You can imagine how much Brighton has been able to make on players' transfers in recent times, and Chelsea have been one of their very good customers. First, Cucurella, now Moses Caicedo, and it looks like this is one of the transfers that was made in heaven. To think Chelsea could have got him for some 4 million some years back. But now it's a British record.
And not only Chelsea, Man U would have gotten him, Manchester United would have gotten him for 5 million. You understand? I think it's a good deal for Chelsea. Caicedo is a wonderful player. He's a decent, he even is above that level of, decent. When you try to rate players, yes, he's a good player, and I feel he can, reach the pinnacle of his career.
Step up to the plate.
Yes, injury free, and he keeps on doing what he's doing, and he does it better. You understand? However, that money, everybody is the one.
Yeah, the money even weighs you down.
Yes, and you know that Chelsea would have gotten him lesser. You understand? But it was because of the Liverpool interest that
everything just
skyrocketed. Yeah, exactly. So I'm waiting to see how Mauricio Pochettino is going to use all the stars he has in his team.
Well, so many stars, and millions of pounds rolling into an entire squad for Chelsea. And Mauricio Pochettino is coming back into the Premier League for the first time in 4 years. Coincidentally too, he played against Jurgen Klopp as the first manager on his return. And coincidentally too, Jurgen Klopp played against him as his first opponent when Jurgen Klopp came into the Premier League in 2016. So I saw the warm embrace between them yesterday, and it was kind of symbolic. And Chelsea under Pochettino how good do you think they can come?
Okay,
Look at what from the 1-1 result they got against Liverpool yesterday.
Yes, so I was going to start with that. So I think that it will be too early. It will be too early and wrong for Premier League fans or any fan.
Chelsea fans.
Not just Chelsea fans.
Okay.
Chelsea fans will be behind Pochettino for sure. But other clubs will be like, oh, from last season and this and that, you know. But it will be unwise
to write them off.
To write them off. Look how they started the game yesterday. Even after going
a goal down,
almost
two goals
down, they kept their composure
and broke that momentum for Liverpool.
Yes. So I think it would be wrong for anybody and unwise for anybody to write them off early. And I expect them to, to give everybody a taste of the former Chelsea.
Well, let's not go deep into how well they will be able to bounce back into the fold of the big guys in the league. But let's look at their opponents yesterday. Liverpool, the Reds, also with a renewed midfield. They were looking for Caicedo, but he eventually did not join them. But yesterday they had Dominic Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister in midfield with Cody Gakpo in front of them. Salah almost got the 7th consecutive goal on the opening weekend of the Premier League yesterday too. And it was just, for me, the same old Liverpool and nothing really new except for the opening period of the game.
So, well, I'm going to bring it back to when they lost Gigi Wijnaldum.
Yeah.
I think since that time, they've not really had a replacement.
For that guy?
Yes. He's someone that, is in the middle, is at the back, he's up front, and he controls the midfield well. So they've not really had, a perfect replacement for him. And now letting the likes of
5 midfielders,
letting those guys go, I feel that Jurgen Klopp should have just left at least one of them, and that should be Fabiano. Allow the new guys,
to integrate and so kind of learn the ropes.
Maybe like next season, if you want him to leave, you can allow him leave, but you must ensure that you have a perfect replacement
for someone like Fabinho. And to even think Captain Jordan Henderson just had to leave, a new captain had to be named.
Look at Arsenal. They brought in Declan Rice, and everybody thought that Thomas Partey was going to leave, but they did not. You understand? So they should have, but then they already let these players go. Now they will be panic buying. I suspect that they will be panic.
And perhaps that was why they had to launch that bid for Caicedo in the first place.
Yes, and then again that too was somehow funny because they were
on Lavia.
Yes, and it was how many £1,000,000 away from
110. Yeah.
Yeah. So
they could have paid less than 60 million for Lavia
as well. He's a decent player. He had good control of the ball and of the midfield. He's a decent player. I feel that Lavia and Caicedo could have given them some sort of, but will they give them what they've had? With the likes of Henderson and
Fabinho.
Oh
well,
I don't know.
It was not just the result between Liverpool and Chelsea yesterday. A player was also between them, and finally the guy is blue. So that takes us away from that other side. Now let's focus our attention on the game that is coming up tonight in the English Premier League at Old Trafford, the Theatre of Dreams. Manchester United under Erik ten Hag will be welcoming Wolverhampton Wanderers to the English Premier League tonight. And of course, what kind of baptism are you expecting for Erik ten Hag, who has had a season to build his team, made his mark sort of, at least got a piece of silverware last season. This time around, he has to relaunch whatever he did last season to get something.
Okay, so I think in everything, when you start something new, consistency is key.
Yeah.
You understand? So last season, the Manchester United did well. I'm not going to speak based on bias because it's my club. But,
yeah, I like the fact that it is from a perspective of a fan too.
Yeah, so everybody would really want to see what this Ten Hag squad is made of. You understand? They want, he needs to cement his team, and they need to cement how they play, the kind of threats that they
pose
to opponents. They need to do that, and it's going to be a tough game against Wolves. And if you check records, it has not been like a walkover for Manchester United when they face Wolves. So it's going to be a tough game, but I expect Manchester United to pull through. There could be 1 or 2 surprises because all eyes will be on the new goalkeeper as well. So there could be 1 or 2 surprises, because of the way he plays. his game and his positioning too. So let's see how Tenag plays today.
All on the striker from Atalanta will not be able to make his debut tonight because of a back injury that he's still nursing and trying to recover from. And at the same time too, the team will also be going against a team that had to change manager a few days before the start of the season. Julian Lopetegui stepping aside and Gary O'Neill stepping in. Do you think Wolves might just be able to find that balance as quickly as possible?
Yeah, that was kind of surprising, allowing Lopetegui to leave. But then again, O'Neill is not
new to the
You understand? He's not a newbie in the Premier League. But the question now is, did he have enough time to
integrate,
to get accustomed with his players and show them his playing style and all? We would have to see that when they play tonight.
All right, let's turn our attention to our boys in the league, Nigerian players in the English Premier League. As it is, if we don't have to include those ones that are yet to pledge their allegiance for Nigeria, we have 8 Nigerians eligible, as in full-fledged Nigerians who are in the Premier League. And since Friday that the league has been on, we began to see them on Saturday. And of course, Alex Iwobi, perhaps Everton are yet to get out of the problems that they had last season. They were beaten at home on their return to the season this time around. But Taiwo Awoniyi, on his 26th birthday, also got the first goal of the season for Nottingham Forest, and he even welcomed the baby after that match as well. So double for him. And we have the likes of Frank Onyeka, who is still injured. He's still injured. Calvin Bassey moved from Ajax to Fulham. And we have 2 guys at Luton, Osho and Adebayo, while Ola also joined Nottingham Forest. There are 3 guys in Nottingham Forest at the moment now, and of course there are 2 guys in Nottingham Forest at the moment, and Emmanuel Dennis still has a question mark hanging over him. Maybe we should just begin from him.
Yeah, Emmanuel Dennis. Yeah, Emmanuel Dennis is a very, very decent player, and I'm just surprised that he has not fought his way through to the starting 11 in his club at Forest. So I don't know how it's going to pan out for him, but I feel that he just needs to be consistent in his play, keep doing what he does, and try to get the goals. And
the attitude, that's one thing that most people have been talking about since last season. Big player, big attitude as it is, and of course he feels like he's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, well, he can feel like he's one of the best in the world to him. But he needs to show us. He needs to show everybody. But we personally, I believe in his abilities, as that he can be one of the best in the world. Yeah, that he can be. Everyone can be, actually. But how far do you want to go? Is only you that can answer that question.
So while he might be on his way out of Nottingham Forest, but another guy came in the summer. That is Ola, who had previously played for Fulham in the Premier League, and straight into the team. And he had he had a nice outing with the Tricky Trees, while his compatriot Taiwo Awoniyi was on the scorer's sheet on his 26th birthday.
Speaking of Olaino, let me start with Olaino first. Olaino, he has he has experience, and he has played in different leagues.
Yeah.
You understand? So Olaino is an established player, and I think is a good addition to Fulham, right? I think it's a good addition to Fulham, and it will pose more threats for the opponents.
All right, and
style of play.
Alex Iwobi, his future with Everton is still hanging in the balance. We don't know whether he's going to stay or that. As before the end of last season, he was talking about Champions League football, but nothing is looking like that for now, and they were beaten at home in their first game of the season. Their struggles.
I think he's about 11 months away from his
the end of his contract.
And I don't know if other teams are trying to sign him. However, Iwobi is a decent player. I think if you look at their first game, he had a decent game in their first game.
As always,
no doubt.
as always.
He had a decent game. So I expect him, to be unfazed by the contract issue and all this, and keep on playing his game, do better to help his team. And he was pivotal to their survival last season.
Yeah, he was the player of the season for Everton.
Exactly. So he would do. I expect him to do better, and I know some Nigerian fans will be they will have eyes on him because they are crushed from the Super
from the Super Falcons.
Yeah, you understand? It's crushing on Iwobi. But anyways, I expect Iwobi to do better, and I feel that teams in the middle, like the middle table teams, or maybe even like teams like Tottenham that want to challenge the title or for the top four, and even Newcastle, it's not bad. They should be looking at a player like Alex Iwobi.
Well, only God knows if there are actually interest even within the league. But for most of what we heard last season, there are interests outside of the Premier League. So it remains to be seen whether he's willing to move or not. Now let's go straight to London, where Calvin Bassey joined Fulham from Ajax in the summer as well. While he impressed in pre-season, Marco Silva has had some verdicts on him, but we didn't see him in the starting lineup in their game.
Well, it could be because he's a newbie, or maybe he's not fit to play the entire game. You understand? But I think over time we'll get to see the stuff that Calvin Bassey is made of, and it's going to be a very, very good signing.
A resurgence move for his career, I must say. And the last guy we have to talk about is Frank Onyeka, who is at Brentford, and of course currently out injured. We hope to see him soon.
Yes. So I think one of the players for Brentford, one of the vital key players for Brentford is Frank Onyeka, and I'm sure that they will be looking forward to when he returns to the team. You know, they already have Ivan Toney on suspension.
Some suspension, yeah.
So by the time Onyeka gets back, he would just work his way back into the team, and you know, you will see those things that he does with the team, and you know, it will be very, very, very important for them.
So aside those 8, we still have other Nigerians in the Premier League, and we saw Kani Chukwu Emeka with Chelsea yesterday. He got cautioned in the 4th minute of that game against Liverpool, and for someone in the midfield to pick up a yellow card in the 4th minute and still managed to get a very decent game in 90 minutes, over 80 minutes before he was taken off, speaks a lot. Then we had Destiny Udogie for Tottenham Hotspur. He had played for Italy at youth level, but now he's getting into the starting lineup straight at the London Stadium.
I think this time is a good time for Nigerian football, and every Nigerian will be going in for these guys. You understand? And we have a number of players, you know, in the Premier League and as well other leagues as well. So it's a good time for Nigerian football. But I don't know if these guys would, you know, want to switch allegiance and come and play for the Super Eagles.
Well, so much talk about allegiance, and of course, if you ask many other Nigerians too, they have their reservations about most guys coming from abroad to come and play for it, because they feel they were not good enough for other countries. That is why they are coming home. But that is that about that. Now let's come back home to our guys who are fantasizing and who are recreating the English Premier League within our organization here. And of course, the Fantasy Premier League is everyone's delight. And here too, we have our League of Punchers, where we have players selecting their players. And I went through the team of almost everyone as at last night. Almost everyone had Haaland. I can't remember anyone who does not have Haaland in their team. So as it stands, it is Damsey FC, Segun Oduayo himself, who is on top of the table with 68 points. And is followed by Sharon Osaji of the weekend titles with 66 points. Kamjin Yozayomi Oluwatu is there in 3rd position. Ebenezer Bajela of the Sports Desk, who has not even played FPL before, is in number 4 with 64 points. Adekunle Sulaiman, he calls himself Providence, is on 60 points in number 5. And Melanie Ishola, the head of programs of the digital team, is there too. And of course, with 60 points, she has not played the FPL before as well. Olani Akwankwa, one of our guys with the digital team as well, is there in number 7 with 59. And your humble and my humble self, yours faithfully, is in number 8 with 57 points. Peter Akim, also of the Sports Desk, is on 54 points in 9th position. And Marco Aebube, one of our latest signees too, is also on 51 points and is top from the bottom of the table.
Yeah, so I think my message is going to Damsey. Be ready for me. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for your top position. Be ready for me. However, I'd like to commend the ladies. Actually, it's nice seeing that the ladies second, you know, on the table. It's amazing. It's amazing, really. And I'd like to see how far they go until the end of the season.
And it shows that Sharon knows her onions. Exactly. Because when we brought up this idea, she was very enthusiastic about this whole thing.
She's 2 points behind.
And she's proving it behind the table topper. Don't forget that there is a game tonight, and a couple of points might just change the way things are standing. So right after this show, we'll be admitting you into the league as well, and let's see how you come for Damsey.
Yes, I'm coming for you.
All right, it's been a ride on the show this afternoon, and it's time for us to say our byes. We've had wonderful time with you, and of course, Anything. What a time we've had.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, we hope to see you again next week, and of course, when we'll be talking much more about the English Premier League. By then, the actions would have been coming thick and fast, and that will be after match week 2. Until then, they call me iFlyer. Please enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.